The other tractor that you got from Harold was the Little Devil.
Little Devil, yeah.
Yeah. Just tell us about.
Well,
about
when
how
I
that
first met Harold, Louis Buice told me that over by Dagmar, Montana, there was part of a Little Devil Hart-Parr. So when Harold come up here the first time in 1963, we went out there, and there was a fender, and the front wheel with cement in it, one of the front wheels, and the mailbox, the crankshaft, and flywheel was a mailbox stand. I bought the whole works. I bought it before for $10 from the guy. Well, we went out and got it. And I didn't know about the mailbox thing, but the guy came up with that too. Well, then he had that. But he was trying to buy the one in Oklahoma. But of course, he couldn't get together with the guy. I don't know what the problem was thinking with it. Harold wouldn't want to pay what he wanted for it. I remember that guy's name was Nova. You remember the name of that town?
I don't, but I
But
remember.
Ed Novi was his name.
Don Sell ended up.
Yeah, well, but anyhow, then later on, there was a old ranch over by Robsart, Saskatchewan, who got around a lot, and he told me north of Gull Lake there remains one of the little two-cycle Hart-Parrs. So when Harold and Henry and I went up there, went and saw, sure enough, we went out to here was the frame, not the front end, but the back wheel and the frame of one, owned by a Smith in town. And his son lived on the farm, real nice fella. So we went to town. Well, it seemed that Bill Smith is quite a old gentleman, but he'd like to have a few. And he went to Swift Current that day, and with his wife and his daughter who lived with him. She's an older lady. Anyhow, and we found out that when he come back, he'd probably be pretty well organized. Well, he got back and he had another son called Farmer Smith, and he was just the opposite. He was drinking and carrying on, kind of wasn't like his brother on the farm. Anyhow, got dark, turned up with a light in the house, so it was for me to go up there and see him. So I went up, knocked on the door, and the lady, oh, yeah, well, he's in his study. So I went in there and talked to him. And he told me all about the tractor. He said when I bought the tractor, he said it was $900 outright, but if you took it on, $850 outright, if you took it on time, it was $900. So I took it on time and paid half. And I said, good, done more with oxen than I did with that tractor in the 2 months I tried to use it. He said, the gear rolled over first off, the pinion gear was something wrong with that, and finally, the third time he said the expert come out and he said, just let the tractor sit, they're going to recall these tractors, and they will straighten it up with you. And he said, they give him an old 3060 Hart-Parr, and he would like that. But they never picked the tractor up. But somehow during the war, the motor and the transmission was taken off of it. He didn't know what happened to that. Well, would you sell it? Yep, $50. Okay. Well, the guy is 35. Next morning, and Harold and I went in, and the guy was sober, and I said, no, we got it for, give him $50. So we went out to get it then. Well, Harold had a winch on his truck, and we should back up a little. No, you want to pull it up with the holes. Snapped the axle in the truck. Well, it was lined up to it then. So Henry was a pretty good rough mechanic. Him and this guy's son went into Swift Current, took the old axle out to see if they get an axle. Well, in the meantime, then Harold and I, we laid up planks and we wedged the thing on the truck. Well, when he come back, he had the axle, and we got it. We were lucky that happened there. It could have happened going up a hill.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
well, then we had that, and we're looking for no motor or transmission, still hoping to get the one in Oklahoma. Yeah. And one night, Van Horn called me up from Marmouth, a car guy. But I knew of him, and I knew him talking by the phone. I never met him face to face, but he was a Ford guy, Model T and stuff. And he said he had this old tractor that was a big wheel in the back. He told the Hart-Parr. No, he didn't know what it was, but big wheel in the back. He'd bought it. Well, I thought right away, a gray. And I said, well, finally, how many cylinders it's got? Well, 2 pointing straight ahead. Then I knew what it was. Well, I said, where is this tractor at? Well, he said, at North of Gladys. Well, what are you going to do with it? I want to deal it to you. Okay. Well, I knew I had to get him up here. And Merle Clark was a friend of his and a friend of mine, good auctioneer. There was going to be a gun auction here in town because Jack Brady had passed away and had all them guns. So I called Gordon. Yeah, you bet. He was administrator. So I called Merle. So the next day, here they were. Well, Van Horn, of course, he was like a kid in a candy store with all them Model T parts. But I finally made a deal. I said, give you $1,000, and I had a phonograph with a big horn. He wanted that, or them two Model T, one phonograph, one Model T. Well, he wanted the two Model Ts. So that's what I gave him. Got home, I went to work the next day, come back early for some reason, and Connie said, say that guy was up here called, and he said, well, he was gone. His secretary, his bullshit was secretary, girlfriend, I suppose, sold that tractor to somebody else. Oh boy. But he could get you another one. No. I called up, well, Cook had got wind of this here, and through the swap meet. Yeah, Oscar Cook, my old buddy. And anyhow, I said, I want that tractor. Well, he'd already got the 1,000. She sold it for $900. She thought it really did something. And and somehow or the other, Van Horn knew the banker and got that check back out of there. She already put the check in the depository. And I got the best offer. Yeah, Oscar Cook had, all he would have gone to do with that tractor is cause trouble with Harold. And then Harold got that. Well, then Harold says, I called him up. He said, I got $1,000 in it, and two Model Ts was about another $700-800. But Harold says, it's not fair that I get all these parts and do this. He said, I will put the tractor together and fix it, keep track, and when I'm done, I'll sell it to you and Bill, when I'm truck my family to. And that's what he done. Mm-hmm. But the reason it got sold earlier is because when Donald finally got the one in Oklahoma, he wanted to borrow it. And that was fine with Harold, but Harold didn't want to leave me his place while he still owned it. So he sold it. We made the deal. And he was more than fair on them. Yeah. And he also said, if you think that's too much, he wouldn't do that. But I mean, he was very fair. Yeah. And that's how we got the Little Devil. Well, then, before that, I was up in Manitoba. Me and Eddie Ireland, he said, there's Minneapolis up north here at Russell, Manitoba. And he said, it's a 2040. So we have to look at it. Well, they wouldn't sell it. But in the junk pile, I saw the part of the crankshaft and the counterweight of a Little Devil Hart-Parr. I said, what's that from? Oh, that's from one of them two-cycle Hart-Parrs. He said, we had it here, and we had good luck with it. He said, we run it till we quit using the tractor. Then we took the motor out and run it stationary and finally blew it up. But they had their toolbox, all that original stuff in a shed. So I told Harold about that, and him and Hyman went up there that summer and got that stuff. And when he brought it up here to the show, the first time he had them down running it. So it worked. The Wildmans was their name. Yeah. Real fine people.